Hello and welcome everybody. We are live. Welcome again to the Scientific Origins channel, where we talk about science and pseudoscience. Mainly seems to be our main two topics of constant contention. Today we're going to continue our journey along these scientific topics with our friends Topdawg Shadic and Joe the Kentucky Atheist. Two definite science friendlies. We've got zero science hostility on stage so far, and I love that. So, Topdawg and Joe, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves a little bit?
Well, I'm Topdawg Shadic, and I'm an honest, rational human being, and I like to learn about science.
What's your background, Topdawg? Are you like, do you have a degree in any science fields, or are you autodidactic?
Just graduated high school 20 years ago, and just been learning off the internet and
Nice.
people that know what they're talking about.
Nice, autodidactic. That's cool. I'm a blend of both. I'm not like taking any shots at your credentials by asking that. I know you know your stuff. I've seen your website, which you should definitely take a second to plug that while you're introducing yourself there, because it is a good website.
It's topdawgshatic.wix.site.com/SANDR. And
if I made you a mod, I'll try and make you a mod so you can share links. Let me do that.
Okay. The S and R at the end of the URL is science and rationality. What it stands for, I mean.
Alrighty. Is this working? It says StreamYard is sharing my screen, but I'm not seeing a share.
I'm not seeing it.
Oof.
Oh. What's going on?
I'm trying to share the video you brought us, Topdawg, and it says my StreamYard is sharing, but I'm not seeing it on the screen here.
You have to click at the bottom. Is it even showing you at the bottom?
Yeah, it says StreamYard is sharing your screen. It even has the stop sharing and the hide button, but it's not. I don't think it's actually showing it. I'm not seeing it.
It doesn't have
you
the
have to
preview
hit,
of
like,
it at the bottom.
There's another preview selection underneath the screen here. It has a different way. It has like a video on the side.
I think I know what might be the problem. One sec. Oh, well, my StreamYard studio just crashed again, so that's definitely a problem. Bill Brainham, good to see you. Guys, Bill Brainham is definitely a science-friendly. He's a science-friendly Christian who's... Have you published your book yet, Bill? He's written a book. I don't know if he's published it yet. It's a book on evolution and creationism. It's really good. I read parts of it and skimmed other parts. And a lot of it was very familiar, but I also learned lots of new things, and that's impressive because I'm an evolutionary biologist, and I don't think Bill is. I think Bill is just an interested layman and an autodidact, and he's written a phenomenal book. If you have published it, Bill, be sure to give us the name so I can plug it for people. All right, back in. Let's see here. Share screen. Okay, it says again that I'm sharing, but once again, I'm not seeing it. Well, This is very unfortunate. I'm sorry. I'll have to figure this out before the next episode. I guess we Topdawg, if you remember any main points about the video you wanted to share with us, you can go over those, and we'll just talk about our recent debate as well, and we'll just have a discussion because for some reason it's not wanting to share the video. If that's all right with you.
I might be able to.
Yeah, so I think as most of the audience knows, me and Joe recently had a debate with Donnie and Sam, and they're actually about to have the exact same debate we just had with them with Dr. Greg and axiomatic reasoning on modern day debate in like 3-4 days now, I think it is. They're debating Adam and Eve again, but this time they added on the caveat that it's going to be Adam and Eve versus evolution. They want to be able to poke holes in evolution and go after evolution and make Dr. Greg defend that. Of course, they don't want to just have to defend Adam and Eve anymore. So, did we make an advancement with our debate with them? I think maybe we did a little bit.
Yeah, and just to be clear, that's not a debate proposition, but I mean, modern day debates doesn't really contain many debates either, so there's that.
Yeah, Bill, if I didn't share the link to the stream, I will go ahead and put that in there now. And if you want to come on stage and discuss your book, you're more than welcome to. It sounds super interesting. So there's the link in the chat for you.
Well, I'm sharing my screen right now.
Yeah. Are you able to share your screen?
You just got to click on it. There or something.
Let's see here. Clicked on it. I see remove from stage, mute, edit mic settings.
That's
those smaller screens, like there's templates that are just underneath the screen.
Oh, hold on. Here we go.
You might have had yours already on there, just didn't have the right template.
I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know if I've told you, but I'm working with a very crappy setup. I've got a phone and a bad laptop, and the bad laptop keeps pooping out on me. And yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm streaming from my phone for now too.
Page is having a problem. I'm refreshing it.
It's amazing how my laptop is working all this apps.
Yeah. No, that's fine, Bill. I understand. Not a lot of people want to get hands-on with the bloodsuckers on the internet. Yeah, so you debated Donnie on what was the subject?
Evidence for evolution.
Oh, just the tired old subject that he does over and over again.
It says, does all life share a common ancestor?
There you go. Okay. I'm seeing multiple Topdawg Shadics here now. That's probably one of the ones you wanted to share, right?
Yep.
There we go. There we go. Hey. It worked.
Okay.
No.
So you guys are ready?
Yep.
Before we get into this, a couple of brief announcements. We're going to have...
Is the sound coming through?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
I recognize that voice.
Here on Wednesdays with McLean. This week we're doing PM EST. We're going to be dismantling dating methods, going over the lines of evidence, accelerated nuclear decay. So that's going to be a lot of fun. On the 4th of February, we got Michael Ord, top flood researcher. He's going to be here giving us a presentation on amazing evidence for the worldwide flood, the receding flood wall.
5 years ago. I can't remember.
Okay, yeah,
But
let's stop there. That was a lot. Okay, so they're going to be dismantling dating methods. Of course they're not, right? Like, dating methods are still being used by oil companies, geologists, fossil hunters. Anybody who wants to actually succeed in these endeavors is still using the standard chronology methods used by the scientific community. Things like radiometric dating, stratigraphy dating, even dendrochronology is very reliable, right? So there's all these different chronologies that all support each other and come to coherent and consistent conclusions about the ages of objects, including the objects of known age, which is how we've calibrated all these dating methods to be so efficient and accurate. So no, he's not going to debunk any such thing, right? And then what were some of the other things he said? I got so blown away by just that first line, I missed the rest of it.
The evidence for the worldwide flood.
Oh yeah, right. He basically, all the things he said are just still defeated by the heat problem, and he's still pretending like he solved that, and he's nowhere close to solving that. Nobody's gonna solve that ever. Yeah. I guess we'll end up discussing the heat problem here. Well, we would love to ask him about the heat problem, but this is an old recording, Petite Flower. Yeah, I think the heat problem is still one of, if not my favorite arguments against young Earth creationism for sure. It is a knockdown, drag out argument, as Erica calls it. You can't solve it with math. You can't solve it with a deceitful God. The only thing you can solve it with are miracles and magic. And at that point, you're not science anymore. You're just fantasies, myth lore.
Yep. It matters where your sources are, or what your sources are.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's continue.
Question and answer. So please bring all your best questions. I am pumped for that. This Sunday, I'll be having a formal debate with, he goes by This Boy Draws. We're going to be debating naturalistic origins versus biblical creation. So there's also a few other discussions, interviews, and debates in the works, and I'll announce those when they are officially confirmed with date and time. So I appreciate it. We've got a good audience already, guys. Thanks for being here. Today I've got Topdawg with me. We are going to be discussing the topic of ancestry. Does all life share a common ancestor? This is kind of the third discussion in a series of cordial dialogues with people of the opposing side, right? Me being the creationist and the guest typically being an evolutionist or naturalist. So if you've been enjoying this series of dialogues, check out my discussion with Luca on independent origins from a couple weeks ago. Just a few days ago, I had a rational empiricist on here where we discussed nested hierarchies. That was a great discussion. And tonight we got Topdawg Shadic here. I hope I said that right. So Topdawg, thanks for being. Give a brief introduction, my good man. Let the audience know who you are. You know what I know you've got a channel with some videos pertaining to this topic on the channel, as well as, I believe, a blog where you've been making some posts. So yeah, give us a brief introduction.
Well, I'm Topdawg Shadic, and I'm a rational human being and like to learn about science or the real world. And two videos that see the real world that they can't do it yourself, and so I use videos. And there's some of that stuff, I mean, you can do it yourself, some of it, but.
Awesome. Well, hey.
Well, back then I actually used a voice mod that was a little deeper.
I was going to say, you sound different. You sound so young, Topdawg. Look.
Yeah. because everybody on their side was like complaining about my voice being too high or something. I
Oh,
was shy
yeah.
at the time, I guess, more. I was probably hard to get my voice to even come out.
Well, you have to remember, Topdawg, you're going into a pseudoscience den, so they're desperate. So they're looking for anything they can to attack you as a source because they think you're satanic or they think you're incredibly dumb and confused.
Well, I could be that second one.
Right? Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Y-
Anything
y-
almost.
yeah, you'll
This
notice
is a
that
certain level. Yeah.
you'll notice that in their echo chambers, they're very aggressive and hostile to anybody who questions the conspiracy theory. And that is for a reason. It's because the conspiracy theory can't stand up to questioning. And if you question it for too long, eventually everybody will realize it. So they get very upset with anybody who does that.
Yeah.
The username for that comment. Which comment? I don't know. Yeah. Spooky Bed Hair says they knew you when you were a young pup, Topdawg.
I've only been on for 6 years.
I didn't catch the comment on the recording. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Had you made some kind of video responding to something Donnie said that led to this, or you just like joined an open thing?
Probably just an open thing back then. And
Okay.
yeah, I did make a few videos, but I don't think anything was directed towards anybody.
Yeah. I was just wondering because that's how I caught Donnie's attention. Was I made a video responding to some crazy shit he said about radiometric dating and carbon-14, and that's what got him out to want to debate me, was because I'd made a video calling out his quote mining and bullshit. So yeah,
I might have been in the chat of his videos up back then.
I debated Eric Jewell, who made a post on Facebook screaming for somebody to come and debate him. Joe, you also know Eric as Lionheart, right? Yeah. I debated him 4 times on 4 different subjects and wiped the floor with him on every subject. And after that last debate, I was like, wow, this guy debates exactly like Kent Hovind. I bet I could take Kent Hovind in a live debate too. And I forget who reached out, or I think it was Donnie. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but we got connected on Facebook, and Donnie asked me if I wanted to debate Kent Hovind, and I was like, oh, well, what would big time Kent Hovind want to debate a little nobody like me about? Evidence for evolution? And I showed up with a list of like 270 different fields of science that all support evolution and deep time, and yeah, it was pretty funny.
Well, my first video on this channel has Kent Hovind. I chatted on his video in 2019, and he responded to a lot of them. That's what I cut in. And my
it's like his job. That's how he makes his living. He just goes around arguing with people on the internet and spewing bullshit about science to make religious people feel better about themselves, and it fucking works. They like cream in their pants for this bullshit. I don't fucking understand it.
Well, I turned down a debate with Kent for like 2 years. I wouldn't debate him, and then eventually, like whenever the first time that I did the art protest, and he like said they were coming to it and all that stuff, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll debate you before we do it, just to gain some interest in that.
Yeah,
but you know,
I remember you've debated him like what, 3-4 times now?
No, I've debated Kent twice. I debated him once before the protest, where I was really kind and friendly and just kind of went with the flow of the debate. And the second time where I was a little more aggressive about his making these claims about science while he believes something completely more absurd than that. See, they do this thing where they try to appeal to absurdity, right? So they're like, well, you think you're related to a pine tree and a strawberry and a banana, they say stuff like that. And they want you, because to their crowd, that sounds absurd. So when you say yes to it, they take that as a win.
Right.
So since Kent wanted to appeal to absurd things, I made sure to keep flipping the script back on him and saying, well, Kent, what is it you believe about how everything was created? And yeah, so I was just a little more pushy the second time around.
Yeah, it's just an appeal to incredulity, right? That's what all this stuff really bottoms out in, is appeals to incredulity. I can't imagine a universe in which a human and a strawberry are related, so that's not the universe we live in, period. And now you all have to operate within the perimeter of my limitations, and nothing matters anymore except what I'm willing to declare is true. So the important thing to remember is that the universe is under no obligation to make sense to anybody, and that things can be true even if they don't make sense to you. But yeah, sorry.
The thing that I noticed is that they always pose these as, well, if you can't tell me everything about all these different branches of sciences,
right,
and all these different natural processes, then by default my position is then the correct one. And that's that's precept 101, right? Like,
yeah.
that's the position that they debate from. And I've watched so many debates on this topic, and I see a lot of people letting them get away with that by saying, well, no, I'm right about this thing. And being right isn't the same thing as being effective. And so my approach is a little different. I just take a different view of it. I like the science, and I try to learn as much as I can about that stuff. And I've had some college courses on some of the topics and all that stuff. But like, that's not really the place that I'm coming from whenever I go into a debate with one of these guys anymore, anyway.
Well, the beautiful thing, Joe, is that the corpus of primary scientific literature is available to pretty much everybody, as long as you just know how to access it. So you can study these things without having to go to college and take courses on them, which is what a lot of people have done. And pretty much all the people who've done that have found out, these guys are grifters and liars.
Well, real quick, like, the thing that broke me away from belief in God was that initial curiosity about some of the more extreme claims that I was taught growing up as a young Earth creationist. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I got into college and I started getting information trickling in that contradicted the things that I was told, that sparked curiosity in me to go look at those things. And so that's why I approach it that way, is because I feel like if that's the process that I went through, that other people can relate to that as well. And so I want them to say the most absurd things they can possibly say. Like Kent Hovind says in our debate that the Loch Ness Monster is science, but geology isn't. So
yeah.
I want them to say absurd things, because I think that sparks curiosity in their own crowds and makes them say, is that true? I'm going to go look up that thing they said. And sends you into that rabbit hole of what else are they not telling us the truth about.
Yeah, for sure. It's, what, there is a whole field of philosophy about convincing people called rhetoric. And in rhetoric, there's a theorem called Monroe's motivated sequence. And like, the first part of the sequence is just making attention grabbing statements. And so I think the entire corpus of peer-reviewed primary scientific literature contradicts your claims is a very attention-grabbing statement. That's a huge claim, right? And so when people hear that, I hope my hope is that they hear that and they think, well, is that true? And they go and they check and they find out that in fact it is, that there are 270 plus fields of science with hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of papers that all support evolution in deep time. And you're totally right.
I agree with you 100%. Go ahead.
The source should be real life, not just what people say.
Right.
And I agree with you 100% on that. And like for you and others who have like degrees in a field related to this, I think that that's a beautiful way to handle that.
Right.
Myself, I find a lot that I come in with the attitude of, well, I'm not a biologist, and I'm not going to pretend to be, and I'm not going to sit here and teach you science. But the things that I know that you're getting wrong, that I can point to some source to show that you're wrong, I will. And the things I can't, I will. It's not, and talking about rhetoric and the philosophy behind it, like it's not my rhetoric though that I'm trying to get out there. It's theirs. Like I purposely walk them into places to say the craziest shit they can say. Like that's what I want them to do. And I don't have to. I don't have. Whenever you say something like the Loch Ness monster is science, I don't have to. I don't have to defend that. Now,
there was a giant ice canopy. There was a giant dome, a giant canopy of ice covering the world, and it all smashed down and melted. And
where you know science well enough, whenever you say there's this whole body, there's several bodies of science that disagree with what you're saying, what you've done is you've opened the door for that burden shifting that they want to do. That's fine for you because you would be considered an expert within that field, right? So for me though, I'm not going to put myself in a position to where I have to defend science because it's not my place to do that. And that's where we differ a little bit. But I still like to know those things going in, and I still try to carry as much of that with me as I can.
We got on a nice little tangent there. We can resume the video. No, the tangents are good. We want the tangents.
Yep. Playing now.
Listen, with enough information adding mutations, maybe one day we will get a dog that can speak quite like you. So it's impressive. Enough novel information, enough mutations that may be possible. Stupid whore energy says, "Who let the dogs out?"
Oh my god!
There, Topdawg.
A long time ago when it came out.
All right, so why don't we do this? You're the guest, and we're discussing the topic of ancestry. Is all life related through common ancestry? I think you had a video you wanted to share and just kind of go over what you believe are some of the most irrefutable lines of evidence for universal common ancestry. And then what we can do is we can take those one by one and just discuss them, run with them. We'll do this for about an hour, guys, because afterwards we're going to have a 3,000 subscriber after show party, open mic.
He's got like 10 times out now.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Screen Topdawg. Make sure your audio's good to go as well. We'll play this video. Maybe just to avoid any copyright issues, like we were saying, pre-show, make a couple comments briefly in between. Maybe every minute. It's about 4 minutes. So maybe at the 2-minute mark, make a couple comments, a few things up. And then once the video is done, we'll start talking about the content of it. So anyways, I'm going to mute myself so we can hear. And when you're ready to go, Topdawg, go ahead.
So, do you think we can skip this, or has everybody else already seen this video, or?
I have not seen this video.
Is it going to be a copyright on you or anything?
I haven't seen it, so I don't know. If you want to skip it, that's fine. Do you remember what's in the video?
It's There Is No First Human by Be Smart.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen that one, but yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
It's a pretty good understanding of how evolution happens and stuff.
Right.
So.
There's no first human because the category of human is a blurry, fuzzy thing around which there's no definite perimeter. So saying
human isn't a species.
Yeah, it's an entire genus for sure.
Right.
And the video only touches on a few lineages. It's not like showing like the bush, like how many different fractal like branches go out, you know, of
Yeah,
all
some
this.
great
Like
branches.
everyone's their own species, almost like kind of idea. The groups in real life. So ready for the video and then the rest of it?
Yeah.
I mean, the actual,
Real quick,
gonna show it or not?
let's say hi to some of our audience members. We've got Robert from Skeptic Philosophy, Robin Webster, Spooky Bed Hair, Gretchen, great to see you, Petite Flower, 11, 12 people watching. Thank you all so much for stopping by. And thank you to everybody on the rewatch for sure, too.
Hi, everybody.
And then, yeah, if you want to skip the video and get to the part of the discussion you wanted to talk about, that's fine.
Okay. They used to be called "Okay." It's okay to be smart back then. Now they just changed it to "Be Smart."
Console.
Showing you like pictures in a line, and then showing you.
Great ones. Yeah,
Yep.
Teak the Leak.
Oh yeah, pause for him, and then it's showing like the stepping stones because the fossils would be fine.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay.
Wow, I found the right spot.
All right. Why don't you take a couple minutes or however long you need, 30 seconds, 20 seconds to kind of sum up your thoughts on the video and why you believe the content or the so-called lines of evidence presented in the video would fit far better with a model that suggests all life, you know, banana plants, whales, pine trees, monkeys, man, are all related through common ancestry. Maybe if you want to just take a few seconds to sum that up.
Well, there's more than the video is talking about. It didn't talk about DNA or anything. So it's talked about how after the fact, the stuff that we write down or find its discovery and stuff. Right.
So would you say that the DNA evidence, the DNA data backs that up, backs that video up, corroborates the content in that video? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely does, right?
Pause for a second. Donnie said something interesting here.
Yeah, sure.
So Donnie, at the beginning of his question there, talks about a model. And that's the thing that it is so hard to hold these guys to account to that Donnie doesn't have. Because whenever Austin talks about 270 branches of science that all support evolution and the genetics and that you were mentioning here and all that, the thing is, the reason that so many branches of science rely on that is because it all fits together like a puzzle to build this model of how we understand life. And Donnie, when he goes to poke holes in evolution, there's not a good way for in any of these creationists. There's not a good way to hold them to account to, okay, well, if you're going to do that, that affects all these other things. What do we do about this? Like, because even if evolution was false, like there's still all these other things that point to it being true. Why is that the case? And it comes together to build this model. You don't have that. You have, I'm going to try and poke holes in this one subject at a time and then say that the whole thing's false. And I don't know a good way to bring that into a conversation. I've thought about that a lot, and I don't know a good way to challenge that.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Topdawg.
I was just licking my lips. Sorry.
When it comes to models, the pinnacle of science is a model. That's it. That's all it is. It's people think, that you get a theory and that you put the theory through enough verification, it becomes a law. So like gravity used to be just a theory, but now gravity's a law. That's not actually the way it works. Theory is actually the top. Right.
There's another video by Be Smart. It's about theory versus hypothesis versus law.
Yeah, I actually made a video about that very same thing on this here channel, which like and subscribe, of course, everybody on the rewatch. I also, just real quick, guys, I went ahead and I pinned the StreamYard link and reposted in the chat. So anyone who wants to come join us on stage is welcome to. And yeah, so no, you've got a good point there, Joe. I think just asking questions reveals that their model can't really tell us anything. It can't make successful predictions about data. And that's a big part of why they never play defense, right? They don't want to answer questions because they can't answer any of the good ones. Like, one of my favorite questions to ask them is, okay, we're there, we're watching creation happen. What are we seeing? And you won't get a very definite answer there, right? You're not going to get a detailed answer. Most, I think a lot of, if not most theists will admit, well, we can't know. We have the word and we interpret it and we try and figure out what that means, but we don't know for sure. Especially if I ask, okay, you say one thing and another believer says another thing. How do I tell which of you is more likely to be right and which of you is more likely to be wrong? They have no answer for that either. So those are some good questions for you, Joe, to maybe help you steer a conversation that direction, if that helps.
Sure. Yeah.
This is another great one. This comes from RJ Downard. This isn't my own question. This is one he gave to me. Just to ask them how long ago they think the universe was created and what has happened since and in what order. Just ask for those, details and see what they come up with, because the evolutionary model has great answers to all of those questions, and it's got good evidence to support everything it answers those questions with.
Like Hovind always says, life comes from life. He's not wrong about that, but also we have proteins and amino acids and stuff that can come from other sources too.
Again, it's kind of fuzzy of what are we defining life as? Like under the definition that Hovind is considering something life, he does run into a problem, because then you go to talk about origin of life sciences, which is a whole different subject. But like how he's defining life, I think, is the problem there, because to him, protein, he's always like acting like an amoeba isn't shit, and like amoebas are, again, I'm not going to get into it, but there's a lot there. His definition of what life is, I think, is the problem there.
Skeptic philosophy says, what do you mean they don't have a model that can predict, but they have them little crosses in the DNA, open and shut case? Our friend Robert here is clearly being tongue-in-cheek, but let's go ahead and respond to this, because this is something evolution deniers claim. There's a biomolecule called laminin that exists in living systems, and it is sometimes drawn in diagrams to look like a cross. It has 4 appendages, if you will, so it can be drawn to look like a cross, but when you actually look at it in nature, it doesn't usually look like a cross. So there's a quick refutation of that fun little talking point. You guys might or might not be familiar with laminin, and if you weren't, then there you go. Jess says she made a laminin meme. Of course.
Isn't it like also when they got the picture of it, it's like always upside down across or something?
No, it's just an equidistant 4-armed cross, which I guess it could look like that, but it's not ever really in that configuration in nature. The 4 things that come off of it will lay about it in all kinds of configurations. It doesn't actually look like a cross.
I'm just saying the picture that people show a lot.
Yeah, those are usually drawn. They're drawn diagrams. Yeah.
I thought it was like an actual picture of the
microphotography. Yeah. Microscopy. Yeah. Oh, I wish I had enough money to buy a microscope. I have to settle for using the ones at my college lab. But it's better than no microscope, I guess. Anyways, let's continue to put this video under a microscope. You see what I did there? Nice little segue.
Yeah, I apologize for interrupting there. Take as much time as you need, then I'm going to take a few minutes to give my comments on the video, screen share a couple things, and then we'll kind of go back and forth. So go ahead, Topdawg.
So the way that humans understand things, it seems like we need to have it segmented, like the species and stuff. So there's so many layers of, or so many descendants and stuff, and so many life forms, we can't name every single one, but probably there's trillions and about beyond. I mean, Googleplex maybe. The amount of life forms we have to consider, but and that would be known how we're related by DNA and stuff. So I can't really think of what to say. I'm not very good at talking.
No, okay. So I'll give it some thoughts.
I think I understood what you were trying to say there, Topdawg. And it's the basic central conceit of evolutionary biology, right? We have fossils that show this whole suite of species that existed long before modern species ever existed. And then we look at all these fossils, we look at all these extant species, and we see similarities. We see a bunch of species that have 4 appendages. We see a bunch of species that have 2 appendages. We see a bunch of species that have 8, 6 appendages, and we start grouping them together. And then we learn to do DNA analysis, and we find out, oh, hey, based on these fossils that we found, and we think, maybe birds and dinosaurs are related. And then we learn about DNA analysis, and it fits that idea. It shows that the few scraps of DNA biomolecule, or not DNA, dinosaur biomolecules we're able to get, they look like modern bird biomolecules. They look more like modern bird biomolecules than any other modern biomolecules. And that is DNA that's molecular biology supporting a theory that we started to construct with just paleontology. But then there's other lines of evidence too. There's embryology, like we see the pharyngeal gill slits. So it's all these. I think that's what you were trying to say, and it can be hard to express this in a way that's articulate, right? But I think that's what you were trying to say. Let me know if I'm wrong on that.
Close enough. There's a lot more to it because animal hybrids and all the extinctions and
yeah. I didn't even say biogeography, right? Yeah. It's such a huge model. It's easy to get lost in the sheer amount of evidence supporting it. One of the only efficient ways to talk about it is to just divide it into categories like that: embryology, genetics, paleoscience, biogeography, etc.
Yeah. Many lines to understand the same thing.
Yeah,
many
for sure.
types of science, or fields. And then you gotta remember the fossil layers too. They're not overlapping each other and stuff unless they're cousins.
Yeah.
That
an interesting intersection of what we're talking about is sauropod fossils end up supporting Pangea and continental drift and plate tectonics, because we find coastal fossils of sauropods of the same species, indicating that these 2 different coasts on 2 different continents were once in connection. They were once, next to each other, or connected rather. So yeah, there's lots of cross verification rather, in evolution and science.
Yeah.
Kurt with his puns. The sauropods just walk too much, and that made their pods sore. Straight to pun jail with you, Kurt. Right to the penitentiary. Did you want to continue the video?
Yep, I was typing in the chat first time.
Oh, okay.
Because there's so many things I have to do and just getting to it.
So right off the bat, he states that we can go back thousands and thousands and thousands of generations to our fish-like ancestor, right? Okay.
That was fossil record, I think, was the evidence of that we see past life form.
Right. But by definition, he is appealing to thousands and thousands and thousands of generations. Yes, eventually you have to go back into the fossil record and make assumptions and inferences. But my point would be that we don't have any more than really a few hundred generations to go back to, because he pointed to Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, and some of the other so-called hominids, right, that are found in the fossil record. He looked to Tiktaalik and
So-called
a few other
hominids.
species known only by.
Yeah, let's pause for a second. He said a lot. So you can look in the fossil record, or you can look at genetics. And when you look at genetics, when you compare a human and a primate, huge levels of similarity in introns, exons, and genes, right? All these things have high similarity. Even the pseudo genes and the orphan genes and all that have high similarity. When you compare a human and a zebrafish, the exons, not so much similarity. The similarity there is very low. But the introns and the genes still have pretty high levels of similarity. And that's because these are the gene sequences that are vital to living things. So there's really powerful selection conserving those things. Things like cytochrome C, a vital cascade in acquiring food energy. So if there's any mutations in that area, they're likely to get filtered out if they're in any way detrimental, because acquiring nutrients is such an important thing for all living things to be able to do. So you see why there's strong preserving selection there. But also any mutations that are beneficial are going to be strongly proliferated. So you can see why the sequence is very well conserved and why it still evolves and changes. So these are just basic things about genetics that completely prove everything Donnie just said wrong. And I'm sure you guys have plenty to weigh in on. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also, like, this is back to that model thing, right? Because what Donnie does here is he just discards the fossil record and then says, well, we only have a few hundred generations. And it's like, well, how do paleontologists know? How do geologists know that the layers are older than that? And they have ways of doing that, and we don't have to get into all that. But this is where it comes to, like, when you shift this burden onto the person who's there, like, trying to say, no, Donnie, this is how that thing works. You end up in this spot to where you have to explain several different lines of science. And you just went over a lot of the biology that has to do with that, but that's also supported by the paleontology and geology. And then later, the genetics comes around and supports all of those things. And I think that's what makes it difficult to deal with people like Donnie. Because you're held to having to explain all these different things because he says something stupid about science, and you can't be like, no, Donnie, that's not right. Have you read the science about this? It's frustrating.
Yeah,
and picking things, and they get half truths out there, so they think the people that don't know what they're saying would think that they are factual about it when it's just half or a small amount of, like, facts and stuff, but they misconstrued it. And
And then they see people who know what they're talking about going, "What the fuck are you talking about, you absolute raving fucking lunatic? Have you lost your fucking mind? What?
Well,
And then they get portrayed as, you know, emotional and crazy. This wild evolutionist loses his mind over the flood and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Well, even though it's like a totally justifiable reaction if you're an intelligent person who knows just how wrong and insane these things are. Go ahead.
I imagine for the single sentence that Donnie just said, there is well over 100 different reputable branches of science with peer-reviewed studies in reputable journals that all show that what he said is incredibly, incredibly wrong. And it is so much stuff. Where do you pivot to from there in order to correct what he says? Because whatever you pivot to, he's going to go to the thing you didn't pivot to, because there's so many, and he's going to try and say, oh, well, then this, I'm going to try and poke the hole here then, because Donnie does, he does keep up with these things enough to at least understand, you know, the conclusions that scientists came to on many of these things. He doesn't, he picks and chooses what he wants to use out of that, but this is the creationist way of doing things, the dishonest way of arguing, and I don't know that it's intentional, but I think it is. I mean, you know,
I think that it's the cherry picking is intentional, but they think they're doing it to support the truth, right? I mean, Donnie has freaking truth in the title of his channel. Of course, he means the biblical truth when he says that, right? Yeah.
And
I tend to agree with Petite Flower. You know, what we're asking about is if disordered people are self-aware. And I think generally they are. I think for a long time, people have thought that disordered people are not self-aware, that, you know, your narcissistic, abusive uncle doesn't know he's an abusive narcissist. I don't know if I buy that. I think in most cases, your abusive, narcissistic uncle is aware that he's an abusive narcissist. He just justifies it to himself.
How many times do you think Donnie's been told he's wrong about this? You know?
Many times, yeah.
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 It's the agenda.
No, I think there's a schema there where it's okay for them to do those things because they know in their heart evolution is wrong and driving people away from the Lord. So it's okay to fudge the truth a little bit to, you know, make strong arguments against it and keep it from convincing people. Does that make sense? Am I sounding like a lunatic now? Oh gosh, they're infecting us with their crazy mouth.
I think they think that, but I think the reality is the opposite is what's driving people away from creationism. I think it's them.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. Yeah, for sure. Yes, this is something he has been convicted of, and it's something his mentor, not a doctor, kindergarten dropout Kent Hovind, is very, very guilty of on all counts. I don't know if Donnie does I'll check on that and I'll get back to you, brother. But I know that Kent for sure does. I wouldn't be surprised if Donnie starts doing it.
Kent's the only person I've ever seen to be taught something for 30 years and never learn a thing.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's the science themselves that makes it harder for them to care. They're not
right.
involved in it, so. Yeah,
Donnie has been tragically and deliberately misled by somebody he should have been able to trust. Mr. Christian Pastor Kent Hovind, who thinks lying is a hell-worthy sin, lied his face off to poor little Donnie and brainwashed him and convinced him that evolution was evil and satanic. And so it's kind of hard to be too upset with Donnie. He's a fucking victim in all this, but he's transitioned from the victim role into a villain role where now he's the Kent Hovind and he's mind fucking people with this shit.
Stockholm syndrome.
Hey, yeah.
Donnie dropped Kent like a bad habit whenever Emma Thorne went after Kent.
You know, I thought that, but I think they, like he says, they still have a good relationship. I even congratulated him on a debate on that, and he like got suspiciously quiet. So I think and maybe those are more rumors than realers, but yeah.
No, I don't think they're not friends over it. I just think he
Oh
dropped
yeah,
it from
right, yeah.
any kind of streaming or anything on the channel.
Yeah, MDD will still host him, but I don't think Standing for Truth does anymore.
Yeah.
And he also keeps on calling out Dr. Dan, saying you're his underlings or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? I am a proud Dr. Dan student. Let's fucking go. Honestly, that is a greater status than Donnie will ever achieve in his life. So
my question was to that whenever they were like Dr. Dan's students and stuff, I was like, why wouldn't we go to an expert in the field to have that conversation? Like,
right.
What are you saying here? Like, it's bad that we went and talked to Dr. Dan. Like, he's, you know, and he knows your arguments, Donnie. We have someone who knows your arguments better than you do, and is an expert in the field that you're getting ready to try and attack. So why wouldn't we?
It's even more obvious than that, Joe. It's somebody he's afraid to debate. So why wouldn't we go talk to this person he's afraid to debate and find out why he's afraid to debate them? It's so obvious. And he's still afraid to debate him. Yeah, exactly. Oh, mwah, chef's kiss.
Okay, we're back to the video.
Yeah, let's keep going.
You can only go back a few hundred generations based on the direct lines of evidence, which I would say are genetics, right? Genetics is what's inherited sperm and egg. Genetics tells us.
Okay, let's stop. This is a problem. This is a problem that pervades largely because of young earth creationists and flat earthers. This best line of evidence shit. This isn't the way shit works. You can't isolate a single line of evidence. You have to take the totality of evidence. That's the best line of evidence for evolution. The consilience of hundreds of millions of lines of evidence. So this best line of evidence shit is just exhausting to me. But I'll tell you what, it works really well if you turn it right back against them. What's the best line of evidence for creation? They got no good fucking answers to that. Sorry.
Yeah.
They got one source.
Yeah, the predictive ability of science. That, you know, being able to make predictions and then check those. And because it's not one line of evidence, that's everything combined that allows you to do that.
Yeah.
Yep. Many fields collaborate.
Yep.
And then they think that's a bad thing sometimes, though, too.
Right, yeah.
They all brainwashing each other or something.
Yeah.
Novel test.
Yeah.
I think that's the line.
Yeah. I'm wondering how the conspiracy works in their mind. Like, how many science degrees do I have to get before the Illuminati comes and tries to inculcate me? Because I've gotten 2 so far, and I'm working on a 3rd. They must have me on the roster somewhere, and I'm just waiting for that check because I'm ready to sell out, you guys. Illuminati, if you're listening, just put a couple zeros on that sucker, and I'm on board.
Big
but no, I don't know if we're ever going to get it. We've been reviewing this for an hour or so. Are there any more main points you want to get to out of it?
That's a lot. I'd say later.
Okay, we can keep going on it then.
And I was going to say one more thing. Like, they have like a doctor, but it's or a PhD. I mean, person, and it's only a dentist. And they try to go outside their field and talk about it, and like they think that's the expert or something in that just because he has a PhD.
Okay, that is so funny. This is a very common trend that I've encountered with evolution deniers, creationists. They'll say, I'm a doctor. I'm a I'm an aerospace science researcher. I'm a geologist. And like you said, with the doctor, they turn out to be a dentist. With the aerospace engineer, they turn out to be a vacuum salesman. They're not even working in the research and development area of their company. Aerospace research scientist is definitely an exaggeration. And then in the case of the geologist, they sell pretty rocks on Etsy and talk about Jesus. So there's a lot of exaggerating on the internet. Anytime somebody on the internet tells you they're a PhD or a doctor or a super duper scientist, you can just go ahead and file that away in things that don't matter at all, especially if that person can't exhibit mastery of the subject they claim to have a PhD in. So that's the real metric that matters, is whether or not the things they're saying are crazy town banana pants, or whether they're actually accurate and make sense and can be supported with sufficient corroborative data.
What's the problem with it could be anybody that science, or the people, when they hear the word scientist, they think they know every field and stuff. And so they think they are an expert in everything or something.
The appeals to authority are nonstop with these guys. That's like one of their go-to things. Yeah.
So like, okay, it's complicated because I do think credentials are helpful. If somebody has a doctorate, there's a good chance they have some idea of what they're talking about in the subject they got a doctorate in. But at the same time, a doctorate, a PhD, a master's, that isn't a guarantee of flipping anything. Somebody can have a PhD and still be very wrong about everything they're saying. So you do have to take it with a grain of salt.
Sure.
Yep.
And also, like,
the data.
The institutions matter, because there's a lot of unaccredited degrees out there
too, yeah.
And an appeal to authority, just to be clear, like, when I say that, someone who is an expert in that field, that's not an appeal to authority. That's an expert in that field talking on the thing they're an expert in. When it's someone speaking outside their field on something and using whatever their degree is outside of that, that's an appeal to authority.
They can be right, but you always have to fact check and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I tell people all the time, go check anything they say.
Kurt, more lines of evidence. Sorry, go ahead.
Just get more lines of evidence, not just by one source.
Yeah. Robert, if the Illuminati wants to recruit me, they can pay to get me medicated, and I'll be nice and stable. I'll be totally docile and say whatever they want me to say. So, yeah, let's get on that. Somebody contact Cheryl in Illuminati recruiting. I think she's just got back from vacation, so she's in a good mood.
Okay, back to the video.
To work with. So when it comes to Neanderthals, when it comes to Erectus that he was pointing to, even Tiktaalik, okay, the existence of these, well, I would just say Neanderthal and Erectus are human variants, okay? And when it comes to Tiktaalik,
okay, stop.
Keeps bringing it up.
Okay, really? Trust me, you guys. Homo erectus, proconsul, all those are just, modified humans, man. They're just humans with really bad posture and, megacephaly, This is such a desperate line, right? Like, this is so desperate. Sorry,
we have many more lines of, or species of apes or whatever, human-like than we had back then. So we're finding more and more evidence for all the different lineage. We're redefining it too and stuff.
Yeah, how many?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Data.
That's a great point, Topdawg, is that they continue to find human species and variants. Yeah, that's amazing. But no, it's such a it's such a weird argument, right? All these guys just have really bad posture and Down syndrome or something. Like, what are we supposed to think? That entire populations of humans looked like this for millions of years, for all these generations in the fossil record before a single normal anatomically modern human is ever discovered? Like,
They
it's
think there's
such
only
a
like a
weird
little
argument.
bit. Back then, they only found like a few or something, they think, but they don't really look at the modern stuff. So,
Well,
Yeah.
are you sure? Because Erica's on their channel telling them about the modern stuff all the time. And Jerry Bergman is nodding along and going, yeah, I guess if it's true, all the data would look exactly like all the data we have. But nah.
I mean, back then when
Yeah.
people weren't, guess they weren't really
Paying
getting
Donnie any attention.
Do you think Donnie's
read
gotten more
about the modern stuff.
sophisticated?
Oh, I think so.
You think so? I kind of think so too.
Yeah. I think he's had to up his quote mining skills and some of his language a bit to be able to even continue to carry on conversations when people like Erica Gut Sick Gibbon come on and just completely destroy him, or Dr. Dan, he's had to.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think it is just kind of a fact of debating that if you debate the same thing nonstop for years and years, you'll probably get pretty good at debating it, right? Like I hope you at least absorb some information by osmosis, just by mere exposure, right? If not, what we're doing here is totally pointless. It might be totally pointless. If it is, I'm sorry. But I had fun anyway, so I count it.
Keep lie over and over, it'll become truth in their group.
Right, yeah. Force of repetition.
And if it gets to like Joe Rogan or something, and people think that's fact or something.
Yeah, he still calls Flint Dibble all kinds of names and is so rude to Flint Dibble just for outing a charlatan on his show, which was probably the best episode of his show he ever produced. Fuck you, Joe.
Thought he was going to get better throughout the time, then he got worse by listening to too many.
Yeah.
I mean, he sounded like once in a while he was learning, but then he got too many people.
Well,
he's
fallen. I think he's fallen victim to almost the exact same thing that a lot of mainstream media has fallen victim to. People engage more with more controversial sounding shit. When if you put up a video titled, evolution is real, people are just going to go, yeah, okay, that's a fact. I probably don't need to watch that. I agree with that. You put up a video that says evolution is a hoax by the Illuminati and it's satanic and blah, blah, blah. That will grab attention. Yeah, yep. It's
like
a combination of things. It's not just that. It's also the internet ecosystem too. So you have to compete with what things people find interesting. So you not only have to compete with all this pseudoscience that's more attention grabbing, you have to compete with cat videos and cooking videos and music videos and all these other things that are way more likely to grab people's attention, honestly. Like, I get it.
Well, like, so we have talks with people. You said you debated Eric Leinhart, and I used to have this dipshit named Daniel that used to come on, and these people go and then they make these videos and stuff, making these just absurd claims and just talking out their ass for 20 minutes about nothing. And then later you say, oh, well, I talked to that person. And then you see Sir Sick picking it up. Corky, the dude that lived in his whatever RV out in front of his parents' house or whatever the hell it was. Like, he, I see him, the skeptic responding to him now because these guys, they go and make these absurd claims. It gets a bunch of views and it gets the attention of more and more people that want to respond to the stupid thing that they said.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the both the fun and the downside of this kind of content.
100%. The exact danger there, Joe, I think, is that people are often more likely to remember the outrageous claim than they are to remember the refutation, the debunk, right? Like they'll remember that somebody showed the debunk was wrong, but they won't remember the details of it, right?
So MDD is
Science
what
is
it
boring
is
to
for
people.
being a provocative Nazi piece of shit, right? I mean, I'll say it. Like that's what brings the viewers.
We didn't evolve to learn science and understand the real world. We learned to survive in it.
Well,
our groups and stuff, or what we trick or something. They to get our way.
Yeah.
I mean the person that's leading, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess.
Like, I can't say for certain what proportion of claims people accept sight unseen, but I'm guessing that for the average person, it's probably worryingly high, like somewhere 60%, maybe 80% or higher, especially if they consider the person an authority, right? Like, way more likely to accept claims from people they consider authority sight unseen. So.
Yep, just like magicians and stuff. They would follow people that do things like that. Even people like watching that.
Yeah,
they're doing it in like politics and religion and stuff. Same, just with words.
Yeah,
I don't know how
okay,
this.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
So
Joe.
once you've seen the interesting video where what's his name, Graham Hancock comes and makes some stupid claim, that you can only see that so many times. It has to get more absurd. It has to get bigger and better and stupider. To then we're having the 1 times 1 is 2 guy. Like it
Terrence
has,
Howard.
Yeah, it has to go there in order to keep generating views. So they become more provocative in order to continue that revenue stream the way it is. And people do YouTube for a business and whatever. Entertainment's entertainment. But we have a problem where people can't discern entertainment from factual truth, because people name their channels standing for truth and shit like that.
Right. Well, it's even worse than that in my view, Joe. It's not, and everything you said was totally valid. I think the issue is that people like Donnie, people like Daniel, people like Toronto Bible Study, they are introducing people into an anti-science, reality pipeline that's full of pseudo-archaeology and pseudoscience and pseudo-academia and pseudo-philosophy. And that pipeline can bottom out at all kinds of places where people don't get really harmed, and young earth creationism is one of them. And like, I don't think flat earth really harms people a lot, mostly financially. Yeah, but there are much more devastating pipelines you can get off at. You can get off at the Holocaust denial pipeline. You can get off at the anti-vaccine pipeline and be deafened by measles and lose your freaking life. You can get off at the pseudomedical quackery pipeline and end up drinking your own pee because you think shivambu is a divine medical therapy. Like perfect. Right. Yeah. These are the things that I worry about with pseudoscience.
Absolutely.
The destruction of health and life and society, but all the other things matter too, for sure. They even have pseudo. You say that too much, and Phil Collins is going to make a song titled that. Okay, so be careful.
Yeah.
Yes, the pipelines feed into each other. That is my ultimate point. This is a quantified phenomena. This is something called crank magnetism. If you meet somebody that's a flat earther, they're way more likely to be a young earth creationist and a PP drinker.
Well, what is the more sensational story? That a hurricane comes through and does a bunch of damage, or that it does a bunch of damage and there's this big conspiracy against everybody,
Right.
Like, it's it's both of those things, because and then the people that buy into it and repeat it and do it over and over. And again, Donnie's just, for the most part, repeating a bunch of Ken Hovind stuff with some big words tacked onto it. And people go and repeat what Donnie says, and you know, it's just on and on and on.
Yeah, it's a whole ecosystem for sure.
Yep. The mitochondria Eve and stuff that he keeps on doubling, like he doesn't even know anything about it really. He's just saying it just because it's like a bottleneck to him or something. And he doesn't.
Do you think Donnie knows that 5% of plant populations have a mitochondrial Eve?
I don't think
he knows that.
Here's the thing that I've thought a lot about was, so Donnie points to mitochondrial Eve and says, well, that's evidence for Adam and Eve. But if it's also that the science says that it's not, and it's not a single person or the first person or the first population or any of that, is it really though? I mean, or is that just you co-opting it to your story? And so I don't think even pointing to mitochondrial Eve gets him any closer to saying anything about biblical Adam and Eve than anything else does. I mean, he's not. If you're pointing to something that is evidence for something else, like, would we expect to see a mitochondrial Eve under the evolution theory? Yes. We would expect to find that. We would expect to find common ancestors. And we do. Donnie has to then take it and twist it into something else and then say, no, actually, this thing that the science found is evidence for this bullshit story, and try and fit it to that. If it's evidence for both of these, it's evidence for neither.
Right.
Why is there no mitochondria Adam that he's bringing up?
Well, that's he gets into the Y chromosome thing and tries to use Noah, and it's a long story, but it doesn't do him any good.
Skeptic philosophy. I made a boom boom and I accidentally banned you. I did not mean to do that. I tried to unban you. Are you unbanned?
Oh no, you're banning people? Jeez.
I didn't mean to. It was an accident. I was trying to show his funny comment that he posted on the screen, this one, and I think I accidentally banned him. But I tried to unban him. Robert, sound off if you're unbanned and you're still watching, please. Thank you. I'm sorry about that. My clumsy fingers. But yeah, he said pee drinking is definitely in their camp. I want no part of it. Yeah, no. And you know what? I like using it as an example because it's a conspiracy theory that's so silly and so obviously wrong that you don't even really have to try and refute it, right? Most people are just going to go, "You know," and it's not really likely to hurt a lot of
Don't
people.
drink your pee.
But it's a good
comparison,
right? You can see the same shit. They say, big pharma's hiding the truth, and it's a divine secret, right? They all these science denial cults. They use a lot of the same tactics.
I'm gonna have to bring back the more you know thing for don't drink your pee.
You know what? That's because of the way brains work. That's the only thing anybody's going to remember from this stream is the fact that there's a cult of people on YouTube drinking their own pee.
YouTube, yeah, there'll be a big hit in the algorithm tonight for pee drinking videos.
No, Bill. I said 5% of modern plant populations have a mitochondrial Eve because plants also have mitochondrial DNA. The ones that have male and female, which is only about 5% of plants, they also have mitochondrial DNA that they only get from their matrilineal line. So 5% of plant populations have a mitochondrial Eve, and theirs is way more distant. It's like 400,000 years in the past. It's way more distant than the human mitochondrial Eve even.
Maybe you know the answer to this, Austin. When they coined the term mitochondrial Eve for use in science publication, were they doing it tongue-in-cheek, or was it like
yes, you know what? They're just trying to impart what they mean. And when you hear Eve, you assume a common ancestor, right? Or well, that's what the Eve story means, is that all humans come from Adam and Eve. So Eve is the woman we all come from in the mythos.
Yeah.
I don't think that the average scientist spends a lot of time thinking about evolution deniers, young earth creationists, flat earthers, stuff like that, because they don't interact with them very much, I don't imagine. Like, I'm a scientist. I work in a building full of scientists every day, 100+ scientists, and I don't think a single one of them's a flat earther. So,
You hope not.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Team Flower says, drink pee if you want, but please get vaccinated.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think you should drink pee because there's bacteria in it and it's gross and your breath will probably smell bad. But if you do drink pee, still get vaccinated for sure.
Don't drink pee, folks.
Don't do it.
If you take anything away from the stream tonight, don't drink pee.
Yes, this is true. I have known anti-vax nurses as well, which is super embarrassing. Unfortunately, I think nursing doesn't really cover things like statistics very much. It's more practical skills like triage and stuff. But when you understand statistics, it's easy to see how vaccines, while they have side effects, the side effects from vaccines are mild in comparison to the ravaging that happens to unvaccinated populations when diseases break out. So, easy choice there.
Mm-hmm. So, ready to hear some of my good thanks to the Donnie?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So these are better suited for a biblical base model. Now he did, the entire video was essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong, was essentially about the law of monophyly, as in we cannot outgrow our ancestry, right? A eukaryote will never stop being a eukaryote, okay? A mammal will never stop being a mammal. A vertebrate will never stop being a vertebrate. It's descent with modification. According to evolution, you've got shared-derived synapomorphies. So every generation, you're adding more traits. But that first generation, whatever you were, you never stop being. That's essentially what he's describing. Now, I would say this law of monophyly, the fact that we cannot outgrow our ancestry, okay, that fits far better within a biblical model because, yes, what we see today, okay, let's say all the variants of the dog, okay, the canids, whether you look at all the different species or all the different dog breeds, you could trace those back, okay, to an original ancestor.
Are we apes?
That would have been the originator of all these dogs. According to our model, you couldn't take that back to a single cell-like ancestor. No, you could take that back to a type of canid ancestor. Now, one thing I'll say, and then I'll let you give your thoughts. I'm going to screen share a couple of pictures here because I feel that when it comes to these classification systematics and looking at these traits,
is he going to show the chart?
Look at a number of.
No.
This is where he's doing his thing.
Oh God!
I'm gonna skip that part.
Oh no! Oh boy!
I wonder if there's a way we.
Apes?
Yeah, he admitted the same thing to me in our debate on the subject. He not only admitted humans are apes, he admitted humans are amorphians, they're philozoans, they're apoicozoans, they're archaeans, they're eukaryotes.
Every clade down the line.
Yeah, he admitted the whole thing. So I was pretty shocked. But no, I'm wondering if there's a way we can turn this car analogy around on them, because I think one of the main mechanisms that allows pseudoscience to thrive is that it's not as effective to refute it, to dismantle it with just good information. You have to give the non-believer skills once people start to acquire scientific skills, denying the scientific models that gave them those skills is really hard to do. And taxonomy is one of the easy skills to acquire using biology, understanding nested hierarchies and being able to read a phylogenetic chart. So maybe this could be turned around against them. You could, I don't know how. I'm just brainstorming, you guys.
I know how.
Well,
Yeah,
whenever Donnie does
Topdawg,
this,
I know how
And then go.
just telling them, did they give or do they reproduce? There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
well,
They
whenever
don't reproduce
Donnie,
and share their DNA. Then they can't be a good analogy for.
Well, I'm not talking about defeating the analogy. I want to turn it around and use it to start building skills in them. Maybe instead, still just brainstorming. Ask them a question. How do you tell the difference between a Chevy and a Ford, Kent? Something like that. You get what I mean?
well,
Am I making sense?
yeah, no, I think go bigger than that. And I'm sorry I kept stepping on you, Topdawg. I'm bad about that. I'm sorry. But I think like if you want to use this equivocation, which I think it's a horrible, horrible equivocation, but if you want to do that, then are we going to say all cars are related to the first cars because they all still contain combustion engines? Like if that's what we're going to do, then you've just one-to-one compared it to. If you want to do the comparison, then let's do it full tilt, right? Like it all goes back to the first cars then, right? Well, they all came from that. If you want to have it, you don't get to stop at saying there's Buicks and Fords and all that, because those all came from the first cars.
Those are not connected in any way, really, other than the person that made it. Just thought of a similar design.
Right.
That's why saying that they can't reproduce would automatically nullify their analogy.
Well, no, I think it's a huge equivocation fallacy to begin with. I agree with you. That those two things are biology and car manufacturers are not tied together in any way. But I think if they want to run with that analogy, make them own it.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think all analogies break down at some point. Yeah, Bill's get out of my brain. All analogies break down at some point. The car analogy just does much quicker.
Yeah.
Just by saying they do not reproduce and pass on their gene.
Yeah. There's no the principles of evolution aren't present in cars.
So how could you trace it in any other way other than what a human mind looks at it and it looks similar or something? The only one source that he got, so that's what he's missing is the other of things in real life with understanding biology, all the different collaborations.
I think the danger you run into if you allow this to even stand as an analogy for them is that then it goes it goes bigger than that. It allows them to compare created things to natural things, and so you get like look at the trees arguments, right?
Yeah. Is he still? He's still using this car analogy, isn't he?
All the time.
Donnie, stop using the car analogy.
He didn't just use cars; he had the tools too.
Just stop using things that are created by people in general. That's what makes it such a bad comparison.
Yeah.
I'm going to be rebuttaling him or say something about it or something right now on the video.
So, you're commenting on the Standing for Truth video?
I'm going to be making fun of him every time I see him for it.
He's giving me time for rebuttaling it or something. Here we go.
Go from the beginning again.
Yeah. If you want to just start at maybe the patterns that exist in nature, that's kind of where we started. Was the law of monophyly combined with taxonomy, cladistics, looking at traits, and classifying species according to characteristics. If you want, we can start there or wherever you want to, and then we'll take it from there, Topdawg.
Well, I can't think of what's the first thing.
Okay,
yeah, you have to show the slide again, I guess.
Okay, since that video, okay,
Don't ask
you
for that.
believe was demonstrating universal common ancestry, okay? Tell me how you would explain the existence of convergent evolution, where you've got organisms not actually closely related, okay, not monophyletic, independently evolving similar traits, highly complex traits that we haven't seen evolve to begin with, like eyes. They say eyes evolved independently like 40 times, okay? And they're saying that this is independent based on
Similar
adaptation to similar environments, ecological niches. So here's the point. Anytime they invoke convergent evolution, they are admitting to a lack of uniqueness in their phylogenetic tree. So how would you explain, according to your model, not through post hoc, ad hoc storytelling, but actually through empirically, how do you explain
project so much
when it comes to the expected evolutionary nested hierarchy? Let's start there.
What?
Shouldn't that be in our DNA? Where we can see where differences and ways how it would our way in the DNA, I guess.
Well, have we
So
seen
if it's different from a different spot in the stuff, so then that's how we know it's not coming from the same ancestor. That's what I think that's what makes sense.
see? So that's a good point. So when they look at
Oh, you said it was a good point. Am I rambling? I barely got out.
yeah
But I did say something about DNA and having those I mutations in different parts of your DNA that wasn't connected to the lineage that would have reason why the convergent evolution makes sense.
I mean, Petit Flower said it here. Being able to detect things in the environment is a big advantage. So when mutations occur that increase an organism's ability to do that, they proliferate rapidly.
It supports natural selection. I mean, that's what that does. Is it shows that it has multiple times the eye may have evolved in multiple species because of similar environments, and it shows that whenever that mutation comes about that it is beneficial, and so it's been selected multiple times. Like I don't know what his bitch is with it.
Let me blow your mind. Not only has the eye evolving occurred multiple times, eyelessness has evolved multiple times. The opposite, where organisms go from being eyed to being non-eyed. That's a very common occurrence in speleobiology. Cave lake organisms, they have no need for eyes. They're just a needless metabolic cost because they live in a dark environment where there's not enough light for them to see visually anyway. So over time, mutations that reduce the amount of genotype that gets developed into the phenotype of eyes, they accumulate because it's less metabolic waste for the organisms. It's a selective advantage. It's easy to see how the environment creates a new selective advantage, which creates a new organism after many generations of compounded mutation and selection.
So I'm going to say it at least once for Robin today, but this is their post hoc rationalization versus novel testable predictions, right? So this is top down versus bottom up, and it's, oh, you have this neat science thing that works for you, so I'm going to take it and say, actually, we're going to take that and it works better for me, when he has to do a whole bunch of explaining in a way that he doesn't have anything for. He has to that they're always saying, well, you borrow this and that from our morality and our worldview and all this other stuff. And it's exactly what Donnie's doing here. He's just taking the science and saying, well, actually this happens because of a biblical worldview. It's just bullshit. It's just bullshit.
Bill
It's
Branham.
irrational thought at work.
Yeah, Joe hitting the nail on the head and Bill Branham hitting the nail on the head with this comment. Notice his screenshot cites a popular article, not a journal source. Not only that, Bill, I bet if you looked into this article, it's not going to support anything of that Donnie's taking away from it. He has a really bad tendency to use a tactic known as the Trojan source. In fact, I don't ever think I've seen a single source from him that isn't a Trojan source, which is impressive because he likes to throw out a lot of sources in debates.
Unless it comes from a creationist publication, which he does constantly.
Yeah. The no idea. I haven't heard of that, but it wouldn't surprise me.
I do have a topic on my website about the eyes too.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah. Like flying is a useful way to travel, so has evolved multiple times. Exactly. The structure of bird wings and bat wings are different. Exactly. Bird wings are made out of feathers arranged along a pentadactyl limb, whereas bat wings are membranous. They both use a pentadactyl limb for flight. They just did it in different ways. Isn't that fascinating?
And feathers come from scales.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of features are just adapted versions of other features. Feathers come from scales. The petals on a flower are actually leaves. The cob and corn is actually a modified stem. Yeah. That's what evolution does. It tinkers with things that are there and changes into something new. You know, what's interesting is flight, scales, armor, stuff like that has evolved many times over, but human level intelligence hasn't evolved a lot. It's basically us and cephalopods and maybe a handful of other species, but not a lot. And the theory about that is that intelligence just has too high of an energetic cost, because it takes like 20+% of our caloric energy to run our big, fat, soggy brains.
That's why we have conspiracy theorists.
Well, let me ask you something, because like this goes back to kind of like the selfish gene thing, right? Whenever we do that, whenever we use those selections for more brain power, and it takes away from other areas where like we don't automatically know which way is north, and we don't migration patterns and all the different things that humans can't do, right? Is it a bigger evolutionary advantage though to have the intelligence to control your own environment, right?
Yeah.
And
it takes a lot of time before you reach that level of intelligence. There's going to be many generations where they don't really have as much level ability to start impacting their environment. But even once you get to the level of intelligence where you can do that even a little bit, it's a huge selective advantage for sure.
Yeah.
And you can see how it creates a feedback effect in that you can build shelter, you can get calories more easily and survive longer. So your brain is going to get bigger from all the calories. You get more calories, you get a bigger brain, you get better at finding calories because you got a bigger brain that's capable of more complex calculations. So as you get, it's the feedback effect. So that's kind of what we think human evolution was like. It was just us getting better at getting calories as our brains got bigger, and the more calories allowing our brains to continue getting bigger. There's also a model about fruit that involves fruit, because it would have been one of the most abundant food sources around during this part of the course of our evolution.
Yeah. And
writing for sure made a massive difference. Agriculture also made a massive difference. Writing made a massive difference because we didn't have to keep building up knowledge generation after generation. It allowed us to preserve knowledge from previous generations. And then agriculture made a huge difference, just like you say here. But agriculture made a huge difference because before agriculture, most humans, their entire day was consumed with making sure they got the calories they needed to survive that day and the next day. So there wasn't a lot of time to do things like sit around, think about the universe, think about where this thing that we are standing on came from. That didn't really start happening until there was like agriculture, and the average person could have enough calories to keep them squared away for a week or so. So they had time to sit down and stop and think, or to go out to a glade and dig things up and find stones and rocks and fossils. Yeah. Brain size alone is not the important part for humans. Fine motor control is probably the more important. Yeah, for sure. Brain development and acquirement of calories were they directly feed into each other, so they can create this feedback loop for sure.
In social groups.
Yeah. Speech, yeah. So it starts with speech, right? This is where we started putting language together is through verbal and vocal communication.
Yeah. Hope we can get to a part of the video.
Yeah.
Where I school him.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You ready? Okay.
Gross anatomy. When they look at morphology, okay, you would then, let's take for an example the echolocation system in mammals. So you've got dolphins, whales, and bats. Okay, they all have the ability to echolocate. Now, based on gross anatomy, though, the whales and dolphins are actually closer to what? Cows. And but on the basis of their echolocation system, at a genetic level, like you're talking about, there's a protein called prestin. And based on molecular sequencing of the protein prestin, and based on their echolocation system, okay, when it comes to a hierarchy, you've got the whales and the dolphins nesting with the bats.
Do you know about this?
Level, like you're referring to.
Shadic?
I mean, if you choose to sort them that way, like
yeah, right, yeah, they're cherry picking again, is basically what's happening here. Mike from Answers in Atheism can go into detail about this. He did with me the other day, and I'm sorry, but it's escaping my mind right now. I was hoping you might know, Topdawg.
What was it?
Never mind. It's they're just cherry picking is basically what's happening. I remember enough to know that.
Too, but was there like any in between that he didn't compare to? So like, that's the problem, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know why you would pick one protein to do a comparison and ignore all the other comparisons. So Preston would be one protein, but you can also compare cytochrome C, you can compare other proteins, and in those comparisons, hippos, like the beta casein protein, hippos and whales only have like 3 or 4 differences. So they're very, very close to almost exactly the same. So, like the overall genome and TBX4, and they're also physically very similar. They have similar skin, they have similar hair, they have similar mammary glands, and similarly, they both have internal testes.
Well, I mean, we would also expect for similar traits to contain similar proteins doing those jobs. Like it's not, it doesn't. Again, like if natural selection is correct, then you would expect it to be selected more than once, and for it to use the same protein to do that. It's not this is something that would fit right in evolution. It's not a problem for evolution. But Donnie tries to, again, it's like this, I'm going to try and make it stupid by saying, oh, well, these have something in common with bats. Yeah. And their DNA on a big scale isn't that different either. But that's not the taxonomy, right? So like he's just switching around and grouping them a different way to make his point.
Yeah, like other land animals that have like a certain backbone of the leg, like spur or whatever it looks like, that matches closely to like hippos have it and whales what they have left over, the vestigial.
Yeah. Are you talking about the astragalus, the ankle bone?
I guess that's the one.
Yeah. So Petite Flower says, pretty sure structures for sound and hearing are different between bats and dolphins. Right you are, Petite Flower. And the difference is actually really interesting. So most mammals, their inner ear is soft, and that is good for hearing above water. Cetaceans, whales, orcas, dolphins, porpoises, their inner ear is hardened boned. It's called the involucrum. It's part of the tympanic bulla, and it helps them hear underwater. So there you go. They are indeed different. And what's else is interesting is that the tympanic, the involucrum that's found in the tympanic bulla of modern cetaceans, it's also found in every single species that's alleged to be a whale ancestor species. So Pakicetus, Ambulocetus, Indohyus, Myocetus, they all have the involucrum, this hardened bone in the tympanic bulla. And that's one of the key diagnostics we use to tell the difference between a non-cetacean artiodactyl and a cetacean artiodactyl. Isn't that fun?
That makes sense.
Yeah, I was just looking at the how the dolphins make noise, and they not using the vocal cords, they use some other thing.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Let's see.
All right, look, guys, before you start back up, I'm gonna run out on you.
That's cool, Joe. Thank you for stopping by.
No,
good talking
I
with
had a
you.
great time. I had a great time talking about this stuff with you guys. It was very interesting, and learned a couple things along the way, which is always the goal. But thanks for having me on, and I enjoyed the debate with you, Austin. I think we did what we set out to do. So yeah, thanks for everything, and
yeah,
I'll catch you guys around here soon. Thanks everybody that came and watched and stuff, and I'll see you around.
So real quick before you go, Joe.
Yeah.
Are you aware that Donnie and Sam are debating the exact same subject? Oh, we talked about it already, right? They're debating on it.
Not surprised at all.
So 3 or 4 days from now, I'm going to try and be there, and I'm going to maybe send a couple super chat questions about mutation rates and how they're being calculated. And I'm pretty sure Dr. Greg is going to be able to actually do the math, and Donnie's going to run from it. So just, it would be funny if we could both be there in the chat. I'm just mentioning my plan in case you want to do something simultaneous. I know you don't like that channel much, so I won't pressure you at all.
I'll look at the let me look at what's going on before I commit to that.
Okay, cool.
But we'll see. I'll give you that.
All right, peace out, Joe. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, bye,
Take
guys.
care. So, want to get back to the video?
Yeah, we can go for another like 13, 20 minutes, whatever. How long do you want to go, Topdawg?
Until I finally get to the part where I school them. I don't know.
All right, let's keep going. We can always skip to any specific part you want if you want to make sure we get it in before we close the show out.
Yep. Okay.
You got a contradiction when you look at the anatomy and the morphology.
So are the bat using their vocal cords to echolocate?
They're using, they're utilizing the same underlying protein and mechanical systems as the whales and dolphins, because the underlying protein, that's involved with echolocation is virtually the same in bats, whales, and dolphins. Now I'm going at the top of my head here. Okay, so I'm 90.
Do you think he's accurate at all?
No, probably not. I'm gonna guess.
It's a totally different part of the body.
Yeah.
Yep.
9% certain of this. And the protein pressed in your land mammals, all your land mammals that the whales and dolphins based on gross anatomy would nest with and be classified with, their protein, the protein pressed in, is nothing like the whale, dolphin, and bat protein. So yeah, the whole system, the underlying system is very similar in terms of how echolocation is accomplished. Now, I'm not here to trap you or anything. My whole point is, listen, there's a hierarchy, but there are inconsistencies. Here's the biggest problem, okay? Have we ever seen, Topdawg, have we ever seen the eye evolve? Have we ever observed something as complex as a wing evolve? Have you ever seen these structures that they say evolved numerous times independently throughout evolutionary history? Have we ever seen those actually evolve in real time?
Well, it takes little increments over a long period of time. Environments changing, how those things happen.
Now,
What survives?
and here's the thing, though. Would you admit that structures such as wings and the ability to fly, or eyes and the ability to see, this, as you said, would take a lot of time and a lot of beneficial mutations?
I guess it's benefit now to us. We don't know how much, what it was in the past. I mean, we can't, kind of. That's off the record.
So here's what's funny is there are evolutionists who have said if we were to rewind the clock backwards, because evolution for the most part is random, right? Random mutations, natural selection acting upon these random mutations resulting in random variation, genetic diversity, okay? Those
Random as in we don't know it or something sometimes. It's not actually random. Like mutations that happen from stuff like UV rays, gamma ray, or whatever happened in the past, like could have been a star exploding or something.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever. And it's where we think that there was big extinction and stuff. So, and
yeah, part of evolution is random.
Yeah.
Variability is random, but selection is not. And if there weren't any randomness, probably organisms wouldn't have made it very far. Living things would have burned out, because randomness is what has allowed us to adapt to problems in our environment and survive them without going extinct. So we should be thankful that there is a random portion of evolution and that mutations are random. But natural selection is not random. Hybridization's not really random. There's lots of aspects of evolution that aren't random. So calling evolution random is not accurate.
And then you have DNA duplications and stuff, and
yeah,
and even moving the plants have or bacteria have can take other parts of the gene and make it part of theirs, something like that, and just wild thing out there. I mean, wild stuff of the DNA, how it mutates slowly but surely. Whatever survives, that is able to reproduce, and then that's able to reproduce and all that. Yep. It's like a lottery ticket. Somebody's gonna win at some point. Something like that. Okay, back to the video.
Say if you rewind the clock back and you were to let evolutionary history play out again, it would be totally different, because it's random. There's no guiding force. There's no designer, essentially. So would you say that if we were to rewind the clock back and just let it happen again on its own, would it produce the exact same outcome that we see today in terms of organisms?
Not the exact same, but similar maybe. If the environment's enough, the right time and stuff, and whatever it's living in.
And here's the problem is...
Well, I kind of schooled him there.
Yeah, no, that is the basic understanding of evolution, that the environment, it creates the selection pressures that decide which mutations are beneficial, which ones are detrimental, which ones are going to proliferate, and which ones are going to get filtered out. So if you've got similar environment, probably end up with similar organisms. Just like even though a dolphin and a shark have very different ancestry, they have pretty similar morphology. They have similar skin. They have the similar propulsion and aquadynamic principles, right? So
the whole 90 degrees different in the fin, but
yeah.
Yep.
Was that the part you wanted to get to? Because if it is, then I think no, sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
There's been some analysis to say no, it'd be totally different because it's random. You're saying it would be similar. Okay. Are you Go ahead.
Only similar if the environments were happen. I mean, that doesn't happen. I mean, only the like the microbe and stuff would be the. I mean, that's fine. It's hard to complex and stuff, and the more time environments is changing and stuff. So it's too many factors. It's just going to be different. I'm saying if they were the same enough, like bacteria or something, hasn't changed for a long time.
And that's the major. And that's the major problem is this, okay?
He thinks that they got you.
That nobody disagrees with the microevolutionary changes that we see, okay? That just means, hey, listen.
Stop. Nobody disagrees with the microevolutionary changes. Well, the microevolutionary changes are what created all of the biodiversity on the planet, both extant and extinct, Donnie. So if nobody disagrees with those, then, game over. There's no debate about evolution anymore.
Yeah. They think that all life or the major life forms or something are from the beginning, but there's so many. How they forget or they don't even look it up. How many major life forms even?
Yeah, he thinks it's possible for the common ancestor of dogs and bears and raccoons to evolve into dogs, bears, and raccoons, but he doesn't think it's possible for the ancestor of all carnivorans to evolve into all carnivorans, right? Like he's drawing a line somewhere arbitrarily and saying no change beyond this point, and the burden of proof is on him to show that change can't happen, that microevolutionary change can't accumulate enough to account for all biodiversity on the planet. And he can't do that because we already know that it can, because we've observed reproductive isolation. Once we've seen that happen in populations, we know exactly how one population goes from being one population to being many populations. And you can extrapolate that process to all biodiversity on the planet. So it's interesting that, in my mind, he has conceded the debate. He accepts evolution. He probably doesn't agree.
That's why they keep on having the two distinct versions that they have in their mind.
Yeah, he has to pretend like there's
a one.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
Like, don't go. He just said earlier that they don't go beyond canid or something.
Right.
But there's bear dogs and stuff, or wolf dog bears or something. And then they go farther back, and why like seals and stuff or look like bears, and a lot of things. Yeah, seals look like dogs a little bit too, or certain seals. Yeah.
They do a little bit. So how far are we into the video, and how much further until the part that you really wanted to get to?
A little over half, it looks like, and pretty close.
All right, let's keep going.
And allele frequencies, which are just gene variants. So we're essentially getting a change in the frequency of the expression of these different alleles or these different traits. Okay, general adaptation, the evolutionists, creationists would not dispute, would not disagree with. But the type of evolution,
man, that's making me face palm.
It's not the scale variation, it's the major origin events of structural novelty, the major innovations, major new forms of life, major body plans, okay? Novel information, essentially. So here's the problem with convergent evolution is things like wings, where the function is oftentimes flight or eyes or echolocation systems. Okay, and I can go on and on and on. Okay, I've got a list of about 100 examples of convergent evolution. The evolutionists have to imply or assert that all of these novelties that are highly complex, okay, and the DNA, RNA, and protein that essentially encode for these structures and functions, that is highly complex. So they have to say that not only did this evolve once or twice or 3 times, in the case of the eye, 40 times. I mean, do you not see how much imagination that would take? I mean, do you really believe that the eye can evolve 40 different times simply based on environment, apparently?
It wouldn't matter if I can't believe it, Donnie, because all the evidence shows that's what happened. So this is just an appeal to incredulity.
Yeah.
We see in the real world. And the Earth is pretty big. Lots of different environments. Lots of reasons to be changed so you can survive. All right, it's not. But they had a reason to, but it's what did. And then here we are with the life.
See, but everything you just said is assuming universal common ancestry and then looking at what we see today, right? And that's why I explained microevolution, the microevolutionary variation that we see, adaptation. Okay, you can't take that and then extrapolate that single-celled like organisms evolved into man or into.
Yeah, that's the problem. He can't see past his created kind idea.
Yeah, it's incredulity.
Yeah.
Wells or the eye evolved 40 different times. Now, the whole point of this is, listen, I've seen hundreds of videos like the ones you've shown. They make a lot of assumptions that are based on circular reasoning, and they always imply that they've got this perfect phylogenetic tree, when in fact, convergent evolution is not rare. Incomplete lineage sorting exists. Mosaic evolution exists, okay? Where they look at something like the platypus in the same way that I was looking at the fencing pliers or the amphibious assault vehicle. Where do we classify this? I don't know. The amphibious assault vehicle probably doesn't care where we classify it in the same way the platypus.
Oh, he did the Kent Hovind thing. God damn it. Fuck you, Donnie. Our animals don't care what we organize them as, blah, 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 blah. A platypus doesn't care that we call it a platypus. We have to call it a platypus so we know what we're talking about, Hovind.
Well, we find it they're closer to mammal, but they're like before reptile convergent, or not convergent, but what do you call it? Common ancestry, yeah. They have the trait they had before reptile.
Yeah, they're monotremes. Yeah, right. They're mosaic. They have traits that are, you can see the developing form of mammal traits, like they secrete milk from glands. It's not a mammary gland exactly like what most mammals have. It's a proto version of that. And they have hair, and they have all the other mammal traits, but they still have a lot of the the traits of synapsodonts that came before they had completed the transition into the conventional mammal, right? That's what a monotreme is.
And they had their own lineage, so that's what he doesn't understand, that things can have their own connections, or we call it ancestry.
Yep, their most recent common ancestor was the most recent common ancestor that they share with echidnas, which is called the echidnapus. Isn't that fun?
Don't look up their male anatomy. Okay, almost to the part.
But
keep going.
These incongruencies, these confusions, these contradictions to the phylogenetic tree, they exist. And that's the problem, is it's not as neat and nested as the evolutionists oftentimes make it out to sound like in these videos. What are your thoughts on that?
Can we pause there real quick? I'm sure you're going to say much the same thing. That's exactly what you would expect from evolution from common ancestry. Like, what are you talking about? You would expect a blended continuum. You would expect things to be fussy and messy and complex. You wouldn't expect that from divine creation. At least I wouldn't. Well, you know what? You can expect anything from divine creation, so it shouldn't even enter into the conversation. But go ahead, Topdawg.
Yeah. The mutations cause change. There's why we have totally different looking. They have a longer lineage away from the common ancestors, so it makes it have more change. So that's what they think is a totally different animal, never to have a common ancestor or something. I don't know.
Right.
It's hard for them to fathom.
Yeah.
Lineage sorting and these other inconsistencies. Do you think that poses a problem to evolutionary theory overall?
Probably not.
We
have DNA, so that's how we can compare life from other life. And you don't have DNA in man-made object. I mean, unless you put DNA into it. But they made it.
You better not be putting DNA into man-made objects.
Kind of be. It's like we have like DNA making things, so they're RNA and stuff, so it can be man-made, and it's confusing. You have to look up a lot of this stuff, recent developments and stuff in the real world. People are trying to make power and stuff through seaweed or something, or making the best whatever out of anything that they find from another animal or something, and they take that gene with Cas9 or something and cut that out and put it in another animal or life form.
Bill makes a good point here. I misspoke. I said you could predict anything from separate creation. He's right. You could accommodate anything from separate creation. You can't predict anything with creation, but you can accommodate anything. Everything we discover about the universe is going to be a universe that an all-powerful deity could have created. There's nothing we're ever going to discover about the universe that's going to make a creationist go, well, God couldn't do that. God can do anything. So,
in the world of fiction, even they have rules, but
yeah,
sometimes it wishy-washy, whatever sounds good to them, and they adapt it.
Right. Like Kurt says, you can't predict anything if there's a God who does miracles. You can't predict the sun is going to rise tomorrow because God could make it disappear with the snap of his fingers. Yeah, exactly.
No evidence of that.
Yeah,
So why would they even bring it up?
The better thing would be to talk about the evidence we actually have and what model, we could predict something that evolution couldn't do. We could predict a species that has nothing in common with any other species whatsoever, and that would be something that evolution just can't explain. It couldn't accommodate. And then that would require us to seriously reformulate or throw out the theory. But you can't do that with miraculous creation.
Yep. And that's what they think the platypus and the bat is like a totally different from anything else. But when check the DNA, we do know, but we don't see it in the fossil records. Makes it easier for them to think that the created kind or something. There's the big gaps that we have. It's a big world out there, and the way that the bats do their thing is hard to fossilize, or maybe they did it differently or something in different environments, and so we don't know. But we do know what we do know about the DNA. So, and they have like rodent-like bodies. So, yep. Okay.
When it comes to hierarchies in computer programs, DNA code, well, there's an underlying information code to these programs. Okay, it's essentially a two-letter code, but that is still a code, and yet you still see programs, sub-programs, functions, sub-functions. You can still see hierarchies even within these computer programs in the same way that you see it within modes of transportation. Modes of transportation are essentially based on a blueprint, right, that somebody came up with. And that's why you'll see a lot of these blueprints for these different modes of transportation are very, very similar in the early stages of development and manufacturing. But it's not until the final stages that you see the major differences, which is exactly what we see in the biological world, especially when it comes to the embryology. We see a lot of similarities in the early stages. But this is what I'll say. I think this is...
Let's stop for a second, because I think this is interesting, and I doubt that Donnie knows this. You can create a successful functioning code just by having an automated system that generates a bunch of gibberish, and then a second automated system that selects parts of that gibberish that are actual functional code and exhibiting it to generation after generation of that. You can literally evolve a functional code from noise. This is the exact kind of code he's talking about. And it's something computer programmers do pretty frequently. There's some programs where that's the only way you can make that program. Sorry, go ahead, Topdawg.
Well, they I forgot. Sorry.
That's all right. I just thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah, they forget that biology is just advanced chemistry.
Yeah.
And they don't understand how tiny electromagnetic things just from the atoms and stuff and jiggling around, and how can do amazing things and just left alone.
Yeah, the underlying argument here is that code requires information, and information is a mystical quantity that needs to be injected into systems by a mind. And B.S. Lewis, what he says here is exactly right. Information only needs a receiver. Pareidolia is evidence of that. When you see a face on the moon that looks like a man's face, that doesn't mean an intelligence put it there. You're just perceiving things in a way that your brain has an easier time receiving that information.
Yep. And sometimes you could be told by somebody else. And,
yeah.
It kind of makes you see it differently than you would have.
Yep, 100%.
And then you have like what I was talking about with chemistry, making it doing amazing things by itself. As I've seen John Perry on Stated Clearly, that he has a lot of things that helps understand how that biology works and stuff. Just naturally coming together, chemistry and stuff, proteins and all that.
I imagine it could have been something like, hyperactive agency detection in response to what Petit Flower said. Let's continue.
Yeah, okay.
Implying here when it comes to convergent evolution, in the fact that what we see in terms of convergent evolution is far better explained through epigenetics. Okay, so there's paper after paper, and I got one here that talks about how epigenetic variation, okay, what this is it's an extra layer of genetic complexity and information. Okay, it's above and beyond the genome, where we've got all these switches, okay, in our genomes that are just waiting for environmental stimuli to be turned on or to be turned off. That's why we see rapid adaptation right now, that evolutionists have been shocked to find, because evolutionary process dictates that these changes arise slowly over time, right? But no, we're seeing adaptation, let's say.
So, Kurt, I don't know if you're familiar with Donnie Badinsky standing for truth, but he says epigenetics. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. So there's a lot of misunderstandings about epigenetics out there. And yeah, Donnie has one of the worst. Constant environmental tracking. Yeah, that's another creationist pseudoscience. I haven't learned as much about that one, so I won't comment on it. It just sounds like a cope for trying to explain all the things that natural selection explains with a model other than natural selection, because of course, evolution bad. Yeah. I was gonna say this does seem kind of like he's attempting to hurl an elephant here. The countless numbers of papers sign was a little bit of a red flag. Yeah, like saying that hurricanes explode. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a great analogy for it. See, continuous environmental tracking is purely post hoc. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. And Dapper Dino has a series. All right, I'll watch it. I'll learn my P's and Q's. Thanks. Anything you want to add to those comments, Topdawg, or shall we continue the video?
Just continue. I guess I don't know exactly where I school them again.
In fish, okay, you see, due to predation, these fish can adapt and change their morphology within 3 days because it's built in. This is built-in genetic capacity to evolve based on the environment. Even here, there's a recent paper. Okay.
Hold on, pause it one more time. Built-in genetic adaptability. So I don't care how much you think you can build genetic adaptability into an organism, there are mathematical limits, Donnie. If every population started with 2 members, every population started with 4 alleles. So that is a limit on how much diversity you can get mathematically, okay, in a certain span of time. And in 6,000 years, there's no way you're going from 4 alleles to the 16,000 plus alleles that determine blood type alone. So yeah, it's not going to work. Preloaded genetic diversity is just nonsense. It's ad hoc. It's a non-starter.
If it looks like it's preloaded, it's because it probably had that environment to survive through back in the past. And it's just that it's going through another one. It's already had it backed up. So something like that. It hasn't lost the or whatever.
Tribute to the phenotypic diversity of Darwin's finch. Darwin's finches, the morphology that we see, they're suggesting could be done based on epigenetics. Here, recent work suggests that heritable modifications in gene expression and function, independent of changes in DNA sequence, may also be involved in the evolution of phenotype. So here's the point that I'm trying to make. What we see in convergent evolution is better explained from a design perspective, because these changes and the independent adaptations that we see in the biological world can better be explained through forward thinking. That's why we see forward thinking mechanisms in the genome, which points to what? A forward thinker. Okay, this is design variation. This is built in capacity. Okay, to adapt based on the environment. So how, to you, take your time, because I've been going on for a while. What are your thoughts on all of this when it comes to epigenetics, forward thinking, okay, the built-in capacity for change and for modification? Here's the thing, those genes and that information was already there though. You've got genes being turned on, okay, via the environment. Nothing's been added, it's already there, right? It's been front-loaded essentially. So this points us back to a designer, okay? Anybody with 2 eyes and half a brain would conclude a designer out of this. Okay.
This is interesting. Did you know this, Topdawg? Bill says, I know that paper Donnie is quoting from. It's a very famous study that explicitly showed DNA modifications were involved. Prime cherry picking. Wow. You know what? I don't doubt it, because like I've said, Donnie has a tendency to use Trojan sources. I don't think I've ever seen him use a non-Trojan source, so wouldn't surprise me at all. Oh, so now DNA is thinking. Does he think DNA is AI? Donnie thinks a lot of things about DNA that are wacky.
Yeah.
But to you, obviously, you're you hold to naturalism and evolutionary theory, I believe, as an explanation for origins. So how do you get around this evidence for design, I guess, would be my point. Go ahead.
Yes, nature is designer. doesn't mean it's intelligent. And these things can happen naturally. You're just not looking at it maybe the right way. You don't know all the things in the past.
How do you believe they could happen naturally?
It's that he's literally stating the language of the appeal to incredulity. If you're going to define what an appeal to incredulity it is, it's an argument where someone says that something couldn't happen because they can't envision how it would occur naturally. He's literally stating the explicit language of the appeal to incredulity. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's all they have. They're not looking at the real world. Oh.
How do you believe that they could happen naturally, as in the epigenome, which requires forward thinking? It's like a spare tire. Somebody designs a car with a spare tire. They are using forward thinking, as in, hey, listen, one of these tires may get a flat due to whatever, due to an environmental situation or condition that was unexpected in the moment. You're driving down the road and then boom, you get a flat tire. So they, through forward thinking, they put a jack in the back seat to help. They got a spare tire, so you get a flat tire. Thank God for that tire was there. Okay? Because now we can change
Now
it out.
he's just babbling about irrelevant nonsense.
Natural selection sees the short term. How does the organism survive till tomorrow? Okay, it doesn't worry about getting cancer 30, 50, 60 years from now. How do I survive till tomorrow? It doesn't see the long term. So my point is, how does natural selection and mutation, which essentially see the short term, build that and design that which requires long term?
Kurt, I have asked him about this directly. I've tried to get more information about it to confirm his credentials, but he is very dodgy and evasive about it. So far, all I know about him is that he is a former used car salesman. We know that for sure is true. He used to sell used cars and Volvos and Volkswagens and all that fun stuff. He claims he was also a nurse. I don't know if that's true. I would not trust this guy to do anything involving biology. I would not hire him to be a nurse. I would not hire him to mop the floor of a McDonald's, frankly. I've asked him about his nursing, when he nursed, where he nursed, what degree he got. He gave me zero answers about it. So I don't know. I think his nursing career might also be made up, much like we do know that he got a lot of tutelage from a man named Kent Hovind, who I'm sure you know Kent Hovind. I think that's his only real pedigree, is just spending years listening to Kent Hovind spew nonsense on his channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Kurt. Yeah. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. Like, this is a common form of lying that creationists do when they want to inflate their credentials, like saying you're a geologist when really you sell pretty rocks on Etsy and you talk about Jesus. It's embellishing to the point of lying. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. That could be it too. I don't know. I'm doubtful that he's got any sort of biology degree or training.
Yep. I don't either, but
Right, yeah.
I know from the people that do.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
The modifications.
Right.
It didn't have to be the way it developed. It had been modified from the DNA and stuff messing up, or retroviruses. You know anything about endogenous retroviruses?
Yeah, we can move on to endogenous retrovirus, but I want to point out that your argument or your explanation for the forward thinking mechanisms in the genome, you are giving the environment, you are giving mutations, natural selection, these modifications, okay? You're giving them a mind when they don't have a mind. Epigenetics, the point is it's not random. And these epigenetic changes occur in response to the environment. Okay, not to mention that they occur through incredibly complex mechanisms that I pointed out are already there in order to generate those changes. This is forward thinking. Now, here's the thing: the evolutionists, the atheists, they can reject all this evidence for a forward thinker all they want, but it's not scientific, it's not logical, it's not plausible, it's not probable.
What do you think the intelligent being is?
Okay. And this is those stories.
Oh,
Or maybe the modifications, or survival of the fittest, or it just happened that way, or we're getting a selection of mind. So I believe these things, but it's my position that it's not.
Oh, he has a problem with understanding and things, as in knowing the difference between believing, knowledge, and understanding.
Yeah.
I have a section on my website for that too. Show the differences of the three.
Science. But you evolutionists want to go around parroting these explanations, these stories, these fairy tales as science. It's not
Oh
science.
my God, the projection.
I'm sorry. I mean, you guys are just.
The projection is intense.
Yeah.
That's enough projection to open a drive-in movie theater. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Buddy, if you're mad about that, wait until you hear about religion. People just regurgitating the stories other people told them. Oh my goodness.
Gonna have to admit it eventually.
We're not given a mind where if we did, everything would survive, wouldn't it? But it's the ones that did survive after all the other ones died out because of those things that have changed to make it to survive. That they kept on reproducing before it died. So the organism.
Right.
He thinks that everything is gonna survive because of the mindful or something in the genes or something. I don't know. It's weird. He just doesn't understand how genes work. Then it wouldn't get cancer. He wouldn't have all these things if what he's saying was true. So.
Yes, what Bill says here is correct as well. Epigenetic changes rarely survive past the third generation without continuing environmental enforcement. That's a major difference between it and actual DNA changes. Epigenetic changes are almost always reversible. Correct. Have we? Are we at the part that you wanted to get to, or did you say you're not sure where it was anymore?
That might have been one of the last ones, but there might be a last thing that had nothing to do with the science part, but it was the last good idea for helping people think better.
Right. So at this point, yeah. Okay. So at this point, why don't we? Okay. So you're endogenous retroviruses. Then we'll move to that one because you brought that up. So your next line of evidence, I guess, aside from hierarchies, cladistics, taxonomy, and the underlying genetics, your next line of evidence, I guess, it sounds like that is most convincing to you is endogenous retroviruses. Did you want to take a few moments to explain why you believe the existence of ERVs is best explained by evolution and universal common ancestry?
They are usually random, and so that makes it really hard to, if our DNA has these ERVs in that exact same spot in all the ornament, isn't them? I mean, there's multiple ERVs in us, of course, like 8% or something. So with those further down, a few more places where the ERVs are the same, where they get into their DNA, the past. So it'd be more common ancestry from that. Because it's too much DNA with the randomness to be that pinpoint for the virus to be in the same spot.
Yep, more Donnie, Dr. Dan. We're getting close to wrapping it up here, actually. We've been refuting some of his nonsense in an old interaction he had with our guest here, Topdawg. And Topdawg's been doing a pretty good job representing science in the debate, but I think most of it is flying right over Donnie's head. So we're just kind of breaking it down a little bit for the audience, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think I've kind of talked about how the DNA changed earlier, so how it was in different spots. But I didn't say it was the ERV, but here's the part that was the ERV. But now I guess I'll have to skip all this maybe and see if we can get to the closing part, if I remember that where that is.
If not, I can end us off with some stuff about ERVs and captured viral DNA.
Transcripts are the only thing I can remember. Or the subtitles there. Anything that comes to memory. Talked about ERVs for a while there.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover with them.
But it's as simple as just trace the ones that actually connect their common ancestors, and that's how you know we have common ancestry.
Yeah, we can. You know what? Let's end it with that point. If you can't find the thing you were talking about, with you found it.
I mean, after all the we wrap it up.
Okay, cool.
I'm going fast through it, so.
Yeah. Let's. We can talk about it in.
Oh, oops! I went too fast.
Oh.
I guess it wasn't loading. Oops. Sorry about that. It's restarting. Man. Sorry about this.
Well, let's end with this then, Topdawg, if that's okay with you.
Showing my other one. Whoops. It went to the other playlist.
Oh no, Rebecca, and she looks so young in that one.
5 years ago.
Galileo was a moment in history where a huge scientific revolution happened, right? And there were people that accepted that revolution, and there were people that fought against it. And the modern creationist is like the person who fought against that revolution. They fought against the heliocentric globe earth model because it contested their religious explanation accounting for the universe. So they rejected science and they clung to their dearly held personal spiritual beliefs. And we're going through another moment like that with evolution. And I think at the core of it is endogenous retroviruses and captured viral DNA in general. They are evidence supporting evolution so well that it virtually rises to the level of proof of evolution, of common ancestry and macroevolution even. And normally in science, we wouldn't say things are proved. We'd say they're supported. But the reason why this practically rises to the level of proof, this captured viral DNA, is what Topdawg Shadic was explaining there a little bit. They have random insertion loci. So they insert at random loci in the genome. So the chances of having a common insertion in the same loci with another species with whom you don't share common ancestry is virtually impossible. So it rises to the level of proof because it's like statistical proof. It proves statistically that it's so untenable that this couldn't happen, that this could happen without common ancestry. It's so statistically unlikely that you've virtually proven that it came from common ancestry. So that is why endogenous retroviruses practically rise to the level of proof of common ancestry and macroevolution.
But with Donnie, he was saying in the video we didn't see that DNA was created or something like that, and not actually broken viral stuff. That's what he didn't understand.
And Dr. Dan agrees. Well, I'm good because that's good because you're a source I go to a lot, Dr. Dan. So I'm glad I've got that information accurate. I'm sure he does, Scott. I bet he has one somewhere on his channel. I vaguely recall one. So I know I've got one. So if I've got one, he probably does too. Oh, he's going to give us a try. Okay.
Well,
this would be a great thing to end with.
I might have found the spot on the video.
You found it? Okay. Let me put you back up.
think it's like the closing spot. Hopefully. You ready?
Yeah.
Modern life, it's hard to know what the original
We ended here. What? So you've got nested hierarchies, taxonomy, cladistics. Transitional forms are extremely rare. The few mosaics that we find are consistent with our model because we see it in the design world. Tiktaalics, a complete failure.
Okay, we can
Takes
pass
a
it.
million years.
found land. Didn't have to be that.
Okay, it's past it.
That this is a transition when it's just not another type of creature.
Okay,
Don't know much
pass it.
about it really. So you gotta live in water. They live on that.
We're all just as search. We've heard from that video. It was assuming thousands and thousands. Speed of sound see 2 to 300.
Oh, it's on your video. I mean, it's a common. I mean, modern on this video. The comment you just had with creationism.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Forgot that's popping up. You know.
Yeah.
Didn't know if you were going to say something about it.
No, yeah, let's say something about it. He just finished it. If we agree that there is no ongoing supernatural invention, the only pattern you can start with, any pattern you want with separately created groups, and you cannot get the existing pattern of hierarchical similarity because uncorrelated mutations in the separately created groups will disrupt that pattern post-creation. Yeah. Yeah, so, right, yeah, because not only do you have captured viral DNA at common insertion loci, you also have common mutations, common breakages, and repairs in that same DNA. So that takes it from beyond just the common insertion statistics to an even more statistically remote probability. So yeah, the only way to get the observed pattern is through common ancestry, where a bunch of the mutations occur in common ancestors, leading to the nested pattern. Exactly. Yep, that's a pretty good elevator pitch for it, Dr. Dan. Thank you. Scott, I would share it. I tried sharing stuff earlier and it just wasn't working for me. But if you want to watch it, it's one of the first shorts I ever put on my channel, and it's in the playlist Science Quickies on my channel. So debunking in 10 minutes or less. And I think that's a good place. You know what? Let's wrap it up there and end it there. Definitely check out my shorts and my quickies, and like and subscribe and do all the social things. Go out and yell about how great my channel is and how everybody needs to subscribe to it. Bring it up to your family members and make it weird. You know, just help me out. And Topdawg, anything you want to add before we close it up?
Basically found the spot this time. I hope. Pretty close to the end now, so
yeah.
Should be an ending line I had. It should end this line same way for your video.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna mute myself. You get the last words.
He's gonna mute himself.
Say what you want.
You can do that.
Anything you need. Anything you feel like maybe you didn't get a chance to say, and I won't even respond. You get the last words here. What would you like my audience to get, I guess, from your presentation? Go ahead, Topdawg.
Could you be misunderstanding what the scientists that actually study this the subject that actually work on finding out that there's all these and write them down? That's what we get. If you don't understand, doesn't mean that a god, an intelligent designer did it. Because humans are not perfect anyways, and so we're not gonna know everything. And it doesn't mean we know. Maybe never know it. You know, never know. We just know what we know now from the observations. And that's what's written down in science. So there's no presupposition. There's no agenda, hidden agendas or anything. Probably it's just actually what we observe, and most what scientists have written down. So
yes, Dr. Dan, this is what I talk about sometimes when I'm referring to untangling the skein of fucked upness, we spend a lot of time trying to untangle the skein of fucked upness of people like Donnie, Rebecca, Kent Hovind, and as much as we want to know what's causing them to operate this way, we don't really need to know. We just need to know that what they're saying is wrong, and especially that it's harmful, that they're hurting people and damaging their lives. So we don't need to know if they're lying or if they're just stupid and unskilled. We just need to know the impact and resist it. So, yeah. Yeah, this would be good for us, Dan, if you could let us know. Scott wants to know which video you refute Rebecca's convergent evolution stuff. That would be good for me to know too. And yes, preach, hallelujah. Okay, yeah. I agree, Bill, because evolution is a pretty good balance of randomness and also a pretty structured system that takes that randomness and turns it into the best survivable organism imaginable. Okay, well, you know what? I will probably work something up for that then, because it's a common point she uses, and I've heard it from a couple other ones, and I'm trying to address all the most common points first. So I'll put something together for that if you don't get around to it before I do. Maybe I'm saying I don't know enough about. I'm sure we can discuss it. It's a pretty low-level misunderstanding, so we'll get on that, Scott. Thank you. And with that, I think we can close it out. Topdawg, thank you so much for being here for about 3 hours of your time. I've loved your input. This was a great stream, like nothing but science friendlies, both on stage and in the chat, and you gotta love that. So thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure to go and subscribe to Topdawg's channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel and consume my content and leave some likes and comments. And thank you so much. Thank you for being science friendly, and thank you for being amazing human beings. We know it's hard in this world where we're all getting ground down by capitalism and we're all underpaid to actually take the time to be informed. It's such an important thing for you to do, and to share the information you get with other people to help protect them from charlatans and con men and grifters like the big orange one in the Oval Office right now. And yeah, it's vital. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Stay curious.
For sure. And good night. Clicking the end button now.